Hey, hello there, everybody. It's been a while since I've had the time to do another YouTube broadcast or to get anything out to anybody because oh my gosh, the last 5 months has been crazy. We've done, I believe, well over 100 client pricings and marketing plans, and not bragging, but it's been nuts. I mean, this has been a very um, crazy last 6 months. But there's other things that are crazier, and that's what I want to talk about is we're putting together something that clients have asked for a long time, and it is a leadership series. Uh, what I've found is that there are a lot of people out there that need help with how to manage their managers, how their managers manage their employees. And frankly, in this industry, we've done a great job in a lot of different things in terms of finding new locations or expanding our business or going out and sourcing new equipment. A lot of things that you as owners and managers, you do very, very well. But one of the things that keeps coming up is that there is a real need for leadership training. And I think it's to the point of crisis level. Over the last 4 months, I've done research on several clients and the kind of business that they've lost because of poor staffing issues. And we know that when we came out of COVID, it was going to be worse than what it was before then. And that's because some of this labor decided, well, I can sit at home and I can get paid money. Okay. And so we got past that. We're past the handout. But what's happened is that there's now a generation of people that would work on our business, who would have worked in it before, been very happy about it, that are now sticking their toes in other waters. They're either saying, well, maybe I can go on to be a barista if I don't like to work in a disciplined canning environment, or I can work in other indulgence, a beauty shop, or I can maybe cut hair or whatever. So we're getting a lot of movement of people running around. And one of the clients that really has helped open my eyes to how bad the leadership situation is a chain that I won't mention the name of the chain. But when we did this study on what was lost revenue, for 2022, they lost almost $750,000 because they had hired very poorly and led those people very poorly. And they admit it, but I'm not going to say who it was. Um, so what we found was there was 100 plus 101 employees that had worked for them for less than 6 months, and in average, they were gone in about 3.5 to 4 months. And for all of you that are basically veterans, and even for some of you that are just getting into this, you know that if you have people that are working for you 3.5 months, you're not getting the best out of them. You're investing in training and certification programs, that sort of thing. And when they leave, either on their own volition or that you let them go or whatever, you know that you're not getting your money's worth out of that time. So this has become, I think, such a crisis. I see huge turnover amounts. When a chain has over 300% turnover, even 150% turnover, even 80% turnover, it means that we're either hiring the wrong people or we're looking for better leadership. So leadership has been a passion of mine for many years. I've managed people for 55 years, and I'm also a huge student of military history and business strategy. And I know that if you don't have good leadership, your salons are not going to be very successful, at least not to where they could be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this little teaser webinar to you so you can see what we're talking about as far as this leadership webinar series. Um, so what right now is the most important thing for salon owners and managers? And I'd have to say that we're past peak season, and now we're getting ready to try to scrap out as much as we can in third and fourth quarter. But the key is, can we get our act together in terms of managing and leading our employees to get the best that we can, particularly out of fourth quarter, and really, really knock it out of the park in 2024. 2021, as you all know, was a huge year. forgetting 2020, but it was a huge year even compared to 2019. 22 was slightly better than 2021, but that's okay. It built on the success we had on 2021. But 2023, as we have seen, as many of you have seen, has been kind of in mediocrity. It's been a decent year. It has been on top of 2022, but in terms of the percentage of increases, unless you're adding a whole bunch of new beds in a new location, whatever, if you're talking about mature stores, stores that have been around, the same equipment in the same time in the prior year, the average development or average gain 2022 over 2023 over 2022 looks like it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 7%. And in some cases, people are kind of breaking even. It's just been one of those years. And what has hurt us a lot is the management side, the leadership side, the people side. So this series, let's talk about this because it comes down to what do I do to be a better leader and developer of my employees? That's what this series is going to talk about. So this is when you know that you need leadership improvement, when you're down to desperate hiring, which I know we've had this for a number of years, but nothing like what we've got right now. Desperate hiring. I don't want to work another shift myself. So I'm going to hire the first body that walks in the door whose heart is beating and maybe promises not to steal too much. We have huge turnover going on out there in the business. When I look at also some of the other symptoms, no motivation strategies to inspire associates to produce. People, money is not everything to get good employees or to keep them. We need other things that leadership should be doing to inspire employees. There are many motivational strategies I'm going to teach in this series. I'm going to show you as owners, as regional managers or district managers or store managers or people, by the way, that you feel have a potential to step up into management. We're going to show you what they can learn or what you should learn to keep your employees inspired and keep them with you. And so when you do have those leadership issues of symptoms of that leadership needs to be improved, you're going to see some of the results like the following. You're going to see that non-productive, the dreaded 30-second syndrome. Hi, how are you today? Blah, blah. What's your last name? Jensen, blah, 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 blah. Bed number 5, is that good for you? 30 seconds. And we all know this. We all know this. Even some of the best run chains, we know that this happens quite often. And the best study that I've done on the industry over the last 4 years has showed that probably most salons lose 30 to 40% of their potential business because of that thing right there, 30-second syndrome. That's an employee that's not looking at the software, not looking at the data that's on there, not looking at the history of the tanner and seeing where they can sell again. And it comes down to that as leadership, we're not monitoring those results enough. We're not training enough. And maybe we're keeping people around that we shouldn't keep around. The other results are critically low per customer selling numbers. That's what this all gets down to, is you have a lot of lost sales and profits. When I'm looking at customer selling numbers and I'm seeing a lotion average of $1.25, I think, oh, that is just a killer because it's saying that somebody's not selling anything. $1.25 per transaction. A customer might be buying something, but it's very unlikely that it's being sold to them. So you have a lot of call-offs or no-shows. And the question is, who's going to cover the shifts? This is where another issue that we're trying to improve by better leadership is get less of those call-offs because employees want to work or less of those no-shows. And then low employee emotional salon ownership. I tell you, I have salons, I have clients where they have some employees that take that ownership. And when they do, your world is wonderful. I'll say this to you owners that might have a few employees like that take ownership, emotional ownership in the salon. Wow, what a difference it makes in your life when you have people that really care about the salon. Too much salon drama. Whoa, I think this has come out also of COVID. Too much backbiting, too much baloney going on, drama from your employees to each other. And drama, by the way, it often happens because employees are bored. They're not engaged in the business. And so when they're bored and not engaged, they start looking for other things to do, like about talking about each other, or they're doing their homework, or they're on their phones all the time. When you truly have people that are engaged in the business, they're not going to be doing their homework at work. They're not going to be on their phone talking to their boyfriend all the time. They're not going to be on the phone looking at Facebook. They're really wrapped up in that salon, and they can always find something to do, even in the down times. I don't think there's ever been such a thing as not enough deep cleaning. So, do employees care? That's what your leadership wants. You want to show and get them to care for the salon. So, I think it's time to take control and do it now. If you wait to do something with your staff, to turn around your staff environment or what's going on with them until November, you're missing the gate, because the gate's opening, peak season comes up. It's going to take some time to get that right team and develop your leadership skills. Leadership is the answer. So, tanning salon leadership is critically weak in many salons. With peak 2023 nearing the end, the time is now to get managers and owners trained in both basic and applied leadership skills. And we're going to show you some basic skills, but I'm going to show you a lot of applied skills too. And there's going to be a lot to learn, but you're going to learn it, because this is something I've been doing for many years, and I've had to learn it. Not, I'm not perfect at it, but over 55 years of managing retail, I think I know what I'm doing. Okay. Do you want more staffing drama in 2023 or peak 2024? Have you had enough staffing BS? I posed this question to a salon owner in Tennessee, and her reaction was, I'd rather have my gums scraped. So that was a really good one. I thought I should include that. Okay, the single biggest issue any tanning salon has today is weak staffing, low leadership skills. You can have great equipment, salon ambience, and excellent locations, but it doesn't mean much if your staff turns over faster than you can change your shorts. If you have all that great stuff, the great equipment and salon ambience, it still needs to be. So industry suffers from low leadership skills from many, many managers and owners. The first industry webinar series dedicated to teaching salon leadership. I don't know of any other one that's been done. There may be, the subject might be touched on at one of the trade shows, but generally speaking, it doesn't talk to the heart of what our business is about, and that's our HR strength. How good are we at managing our employees and developing them? So there's going to be 6 one-hour sessions. These are 6 one-hour sessions, 6 weeks, 1 hour per week. I wanted to make it very easy for people to attend. 1 hour a week for 6 weeks. And what you're going to learn in there, these are some of the sample topics: how to recruit and hire better salon employees like a pro. What I'm aiming for is I want to help you to hire rock stars. We'll miss on a few of them, but even if you have 2 or 3 in a store, you're really over the goal line. Okay, we're also going to talk about what real leaders do of our business as far as HR best practices every day. I've talked to some owners in this business and worked with them. They've been as clients that are just naturally good at doing this, and they've developed a style of leadership that is really enviable, that I want to teach everyone. The big mistakes that salon management and owners make with hiring and how to avoid them. We spend so much money, losing money, because we're hiring people, as I mentioned before, maybe desperate hiring, or we're hiring people because we don't know how to recruit or hire them. And that's what I'm going to go through. So from the owner right down to salon managers, I'm going to show you how to make your recruiting and interviewing really productive. And then how to redirect low performing employees without impulsively them telling you where to stick their job, right? So there is a way to turn people around that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm going to show you that too in this 6 course sessions. Okay, and then also compensation and incentive programs that really work. Now, money is not the number one motivator. Very honestly, if somebody is only interested in how much money they can make and that's it, they'll go to work for Amazon, or they'll work someplace else, whatever. Typically, they won't work at a tanning salon. What we want is incentive programs. When it comes to money, we want incentive programs that are based on merit. when I hear people say to me, well, at our Christmas party last year, I gave out checks to everybody, thanking them for staying with us throughout the year. It sounds great, but typically what I hear, it's not tied to any kind of merit production. And that's what we need is we need people to produce, and we need to do it based on merit. And so I'm going to show you incentive programs that are based on merit that make the employee a lot more money. But if it makes the employee a lot more money on incentive programs, it makes you as the owner or the other levels of management in your company a lot more money, a lot more money. I'll show you what works and what doesn't work. Okay. So again, back to this 1 hour a week. I want to emphasize that. So we're not going to ask people to take and be 6 hours in one day. It's 1 hour a week. It'll give you time to learn what you got that day, to make notes. And if you have questions about them, you can send them back to me, and I'll show you all of this. You'll send them back to me, and I can answer them before the next week when we get together. And then I'll share with everybody what everyone was asking about. That'll give me an idea of what I need to talk about even more. So, 6, how to make hard decisions. We have a bad reputation in our industry. We hire too quickly, we fire too slowly. And it's time to stop hiring children. Come on, the soccer trophy days should be behind us. And I think a lot of times what we're doing is we're enabling children. We're seeing people that show up for work without doing anything with their hair, even a little bit of makeup, dressed properly, without a tan. Come on, come on. And if you're charging your employees for tanning, please, you don't even need to take this course, because that's crazy. Number one, you got to get rid of that. Employees need to have some color. I mean, we're trying to sell that. We're trying to sell an image. So when they come in the door, they should look good. If someone argues with you, well, I don't care that I have 5 face tattoos, or don't hire them. They want to have tattoos, or they want to have body piercings, at least as long as they're not visible. And I know that there's a lot of talk about that, but listen, we are in the indulgence business. People are spending big money and time with us. They come in and they want to look like what they see behind the counter. And the problem with tattoos and body piercings, they're very personal to the person that did them. They're sending a message about how they felt personally about a certain situation. And that's great for them, but not everybody's going to identify with that. And having a double nose ring might have been important to that person at the time that had it done. But to the next people coming in, maybe not so. And we still see that more than 65%, 70% of our business is done by adults 30 and 35 and older. So when we think about younger folks and think that they want to do that sort of thing, great, let them do that sort of thing, but that stuff's got to be covered. So hard decisions. Sometimes we find that people are not cut out to be in the tanning industry, maybe cut out to sell. Not everybody is. And, sometimes you have to make that hard decision. Okay. Number 7, managers. You need to stay ahead of your owner or boss. Well, what do I mean by that? When the month is done, the first day of the next month, you should know the numbers of that salon or of your chain long before your owner does. Yes, your owner is going to know the total dollars that came in. You need to see where those dollars came in, by what employee, and by how much as an average per transaction. When you can do that, I call it the MVP plan, and I'm going to show you the MVP plan when we get into the series. The MVP plan shows who's doing the best job in selling lotions plus services, selling EFTs, and also who's best at deflecting declines or cancellations on EFTs. That one ranking is the most powerful thing you can do to decide who your best employee is. Your best employee is not necessarily the one that you personally like the most. It's the person that produces. Again, you're going to hear this in the series too. Merit. I'm going to talk a lot about that. And you, as a manager, or district manager, regional manager, general manager, you need to be ahead of your bosses. Make sure you're looking at those numbers. And when you look at them with my MVP plan, It forces you to have a plan of what to do. So the owner looks at the numbers of certain employees. You're way ahead of her or him, and you say, this person is not doing a great job, but here's my plan. This is what I'm going to do. There was a time when I was running the world's largest movie distribution company, and I had 440 employees. I couldn't, I wasn't in the movie industry anymore. I was in the people management business. So I couldn't say to the chairman of the board who I reported to, well, I'm having a problem with the West Coast with our staffing out there. The chairman didn't care. The chairman didn't care that I was having a problem out there. The chairman cared about what was I doing about it, because that's what he was paying me for. Okay, so when we show you how to stay ahead of your bosses, owners and managers, you're being watched. I got to tell you, over the years that I've been doing this now, I'm tanning for 31 or almost 32 years. And sometimes I see examples that are so fantastic, that are really good, people that are just great, great examples to their employees. Then every once in a while, I see some that are just terrible. And I'll share some of those examples in this series, some that are really good. I'll even tell you the ones by name that are really good. Okay, stop owning everything. What we don't do is we don't have enough expectations for our employees and what they're supposed to do. You need to know how to delegate employee productivity. And there's delegation is not simply assigning tasks to people. There is a process to it. Just like interviewing people, there's a process. Just like giving employee feedback and reviews, employee performance reviews. It's part of a process, and I'm going to show you all these processes in this series. So to get more control, sometimes you have to give up some control, and that's the whole message with delegation. So okay, so I'm giving you some all kinds of goodies. Let me tell you what it's worth. What does professional leadership training cost? And there may be a lot of things in my life I'm not professional at, but I am very professional at teaching, and I'm professional at knowing what leadership is. So if you look on the internet, the cost of leadership training programs can range from, the cheapest I saw was $900 for, it was, I think, a one day for 4 hours or 5 hours, up to $3,000 for an in-person seminar. Dale Carnegie, very good training company. There's been some Dale Carnegie trainers I trained years ago, but they do a great job. But you're talking up to $3,000 for a day or day and a half type seminar. Now, if you're thinking about getting leadership training in our industry and you want to take your managers to Nashville or one of the trade shows, the trade shows are excellent. There's so much you can learn, particularly learning from other retailers, whatever. So I'm not doing a downer on the trade shows. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to go this year down to Nashville. But when you go to these tanning expos, you got to figure that if you're taking your managers or assistant managers, those assistant managers that you think that you can develop to be managers, you have a travel cost, hotel cost, meals, registration fees, it all adds up. So what I'm talking about is you learn from me, the leadership industry pro. Sorry, I can't be humble on this. I've been managing employees for that many years. And okay, so you can choose any one of the webinar sessions that you're going to see and for your manager yourself to attend for $199. Now, after you've attended that, you will be capable or able to have that recording downloaded to you, and you can watch that. You put it in your learning library, whatever. Now, or you can sign up for all 6 sessions for $599, which is about a 50% discount from the single session pricing. You're going to find that this will be some of the best training materials that you can have, particularly for turnover of management folks. You can have them sit down. They can go 1 hour on recruiting, 1 hour on interviewing, 1 hour on motivational techniques and incentive programs, 1 hour on coaching and counseling, 1 hour on making the hard decisions, 1 hour on situational people management is what we call it. What do you do when an employee does this or does that? They're insubordinate. How do you handle this? We're going to go through a lot of that in this course. All right. Plus, you get continued access to the webinar videos for life. Wow. Okay. Also, you get 1 full hour of my consulting. So when you sign up for this at the $5.99, you not only get access to, for life, all of the videos, but you get 1 hour of my consulting at no charge. I'll analyze what your salon can do to increase sales, profits, and market share. I never fail to grow salons. I've worked with more than 600 salon owners, and I just don't like to fail. So I keep at it until we get it turned around. And that comes back to, if you're not interested in the seminar series, also, I am the #1 tanning salon analyst and consultant in this business, and boosted a lot of profits and revenues. My MBA is in human resource management and a BA in marketing. And if you want to sign up today for this exclusive leadership series by visiting johnrfarr.com, well, you can see the address down there. That goes into my brand new website. I'm really proud of it. A lady that works for me did a fantastic job on it. So I hope that you will get ready now. This seminar series is going to start early June. It's going to go for 6 weeks, but you'll be ready before fourth quarter to make some decisions on employees or how managers are managing their employees. So thank you for listening to me. Hope you get something out of this, and I hope to see you all on this seminar series. So have a good one. Bye-bye.